Hello, everyone. I'm going to be talking a little bit about product speculation, different ways to think about what products could be successful. Are you doing an iterative product? Are you making something revolutionary? Or maybe even something extremely generic, and you're just going to focus on volume sales or round out your product portfolio. Uh, the first step is really surveying the landscape, noting where the other players or products are positioned and how they're positioning themselves. And you want to try to find a hilltop that you alone can own. But beware, some hilltops are empty not because you're a genius surveyor, but because they're just bad hills. The next step is you want to gather as much data as possible, preferably primary source material from public records or secondary source industry analysis. Remember that you want actual numbers. Quantitative data is superior to subjective comparisons. And then you're going to want to take all that data that you've gathered and map it out. And you want to combine the data points in creative ways. You're looking for patterns and gaps. Here you see Napoleon's march on Moscow with troop numbers represented by the width of the route east, and then similarly heading back in retreat along in the black as well. You can see temperature down at the bottom. But sometimes you don't have data, you're in a novel market or you're doing a startup and you got an untested concept. So you're going to have to figure out ways to be creative. You're going to have to figure out how to get water from a cactus. And one of the best ways to do that is to think, okay, what other options do I have here? Is there the next best thing? Can I find a proxy for the data that I'm looking for? A good example of this is, for example, if you're trying to figure out where are hospitals located, population is a strong driver for medical industry, but also a lot of other industries figuring out where the people are, that's where that is going to be. Now you have your data, you want to synthesize these maps and these proxies. And again, you're looking for some sort of open hilltop that you have, particularly one that you have the skills and resources to climb up to. You really need a plan as far as how you're going to migrate up this path. So as Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So you want to be thinking about what are the risky assumptions that have to hold true in order for your plan to be successful. And you want to map out these riskiest assumptions in order of risk. And the next step you want to do is actually get out of your little ivory tower, get out of the building, find actual customers, or again, proxies for your customers, and talk to them. And you want to craft a survey of experiments, experimental questions that help you test your riskiest assumptions. Once you have a good idea of what is true and what is not true out in the market, then you want to test those ideas at the most fundamental level, right? A lot of people, you've probably heard of a minimum viable product. You want to make something as simple as possible and have specific metrics for success. Mouse is still alive, mouse is dead, but whatever you do, don't forget to include the cheese. Now that you have something that's working, you want to think, is this defensible? Is it defensible by me? Can I defend it now? Will I be able to defend this 5 years from now? Or is that defense dependent on market share, having exclusive sales channels, or perhaps having a unique technology, which is my preferred defensive technique? And in order to have unique technology, I highly recommend that you're doing independent R&D, literally funding academic research in a way that you then have an opportunity to guide the innovation. And this is really allows you to think 5-10 years out ahead into the future and be prepared, something that you'll probably do if you're already an established business. A great resource, of course, is doing research across multiple fields so that you can innovate better. You want to leverage the academic literature that's already out there. And remember, you're under a time pressure to essentially predict the future before your competitors. And it is actually possible for the future to become clear. You're hoping to learn enough things across a number of different industries where you can essentially have a form of inevitability. And remember, try not to be biased because hope is not a strategy. But make no mistake, you are making a bet. But ideally, it's a well-informed bet. Experience, of course, makes this assessment much less academic. Years of continued exposure to concepts and industry dynamics make it so that you can essentially read the path ahead, almost as if it opens up ahead of you. And now, once you have this read of the industry combined with your long-term inevitabilities, your unique technologies, and your defensible processes, you want to synthesize all these insights into a product or service. And from the outside, or to a novice, this will look like magic. But to you, it will just feel obvious. You have this great idea. Now, how do you actually get there? And I beg, whatever you do, don't craft your strategy based off of your resources. First, pick the strategy and then go about acquiring the necessary tools and skills and processes to make that strategy achievable. You got to ask yourself, for your strategy to be successful, what actions or processes need to work 100% of the time, every time. These are your key success factors. And you want to acquire the talent and resources to execute your key success factors. And that acquisition is essentially the cost of your strategy. Only execution is rewarded, however. Ideas are cheap. So you plan the work and you work the plan. Remember, as Mike Tyson said, the plan may have to change. Plan the new work and work the new plan. Plan the work the plan. Plan, work, work, work. Finally, I want to remind you that if you build it, it does not mean that they will come. Subject matter experts make this mistake all the time. A great product deserves a great business model around it. Remember, a great product is not enough. Thank you.